There's emerging research on the connection between a healthy population of good bacteria in our digestive systems and our general health and well-being. And fermented foods can make an important contribution to the good health of our gut microbes. Good Gut Health Ambassador Maria Veri and her company, Good Bugs, produce a range of fermented foods such as sauerkraut, its Korean cousin kimchi, and pesto. Based in the Waikato, Maria hand makes her products using a wild fermentation method in small batches, sourcing fresh, organic, spray-free produce from local growers.
About 20 years ago, I got really inspired by the works of Dr. Weston A. Price. He's very much into wise traditions in food farming and the healing arts. So it's all about the way that our ancestral people lived and how they ate and how they prepared food. So, and a huge part of that is fermentation. So once upon a time, every single condiment that we used to eat was fermented. You know, your Worcester sauces, your ketchup, it was all fermented. And so this fermentation process has been kind of overtaken by modern day manufacturing. But there's been a revival of fermented foods when people have found out about how good it really is for our gut health. And so the interest in gut health and making of fermented foods started in the home with me. So I was making it for myself and for my family, and I was teaching other people how to do it. So through that teaching, I would meet a lot of local farmers, and particularly one was John O'Walker, who was the then chairperson of the Waikato Farmers Market. And he says, when are you coming to the market? When are you bringing fermented foods? And that's kind of how the idea got into my head. At Good Bugs, we do a wild ferment. So what we do is we use the natural yeasts and bacteria that are present on the vegetables, and we add salt, and that inhibits any bad bacteria growing until the good ones take over. And then the good ones take over, and through the sauerkraut process, when you use a wild ferment, it's actually a very authentic process that goes through 3 stages of fermentation. So the second one feeds on the first one, the third one feeds on the second one. And so that's a really important process in order to actually get an authentic sauerkraut and not just a pickled cabbage. One really great way that we use our sauerkraut is that we actually make hot dogs and we sell those at the markets. And that was one of the first ways that I really enjoyed sauerkraut. So in a hot dog, it's a New York style hot dog. So sauerkraut in a New York style hot dog is just... so that's a great way to show people how to start using it. In New Zealand, it tends to be more of a condiment in a salad, in a sandwich, in a stir fry for your kimchis.
Cabbage?
In Europe, it's more of a side dish. Here in New Zealand, it's very much a condiment. Yeah.
It's all cabbage through here?
How heavy is it? Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, gee, that's nice.
Not too bad, yeah.
Most of our stuff is sourced from local farmers. Organics, we sometimes source from Ceres Organics or Chantal Organics, but we have great cabbages from Porongia Mountain Vegetables, and we've just come on board with Tom Tip Farms, and they're growing our greens for our pestos. Oh yeah. For our pesto, we have basil, kale and spinach. Everything's organic, nuts, seeds and oil. So the nuts are cashew nuts and sunflower seeds. And we have extra virgin organic olive oil. We have garlic, so spray-free garlic from Porongia Mountain Vegetables, and lemon anywhere I can beg, borrow or steal from, including my own garden. So my garden at home is very much a home garden, but it's part of our ethos about like permaculture and sustainability. We had so much kale self-seeding last year that I used all the kale from my own garden in our products, so that was really neat to do. We got something like 21 kilos of kale from self-seeded kale. At the moment I'm trialling growing basil. Basil's one of these crops that we need a lot of, and we had our new supplier Tom Tip Farms come on board, and we didn't really know how they were going to get on, but they've done amazingly. They just harvested 50 kilos of basil the other day, which was a lot of work. At the moment mine's just experimenting with some of those crops that we might use. Our best seller is our orange turmeric and ginger sauerkraut. It's very subtle and it smells amazing when you open the jar. So that's a really great one for people who go, I don't like sauerkraut. So, they really just go, oh, actually, this isn't too bad. Our fermented pesto is also very much our unique selling point. So when we go to market and we get new customers, they're very interested to try that. So kimchi, we have 2 award-winning kimchi. Kimchi basically means spicy fermented vegetables. So in Korea, it's like the national dish of Korea, and they have kimchi fridges. But for us, we have 2 products. One's a vegan one, and one is more authentic taste with fish sauce. And then, so that's spicy fermented vegetables, that's your kimchi. And then sauerkraut is like We eat it a little bit differently in New Zealand. We eat it more flavourful. In Europe, it tends to be just sort of, cabbage, maybe carrot, maybe onion, and a few seeds. But we like to jazz it up quite a lot and eat it more of a summer vegetable rather than a winter staple. We have an MPI custom food control plan, so it's very much about food safety. One thing I'm really working on at the moment is a software, so we can do all our food compliance and all of our tracking and tracing on our phones. And that should be great because I want to be able to leave the business and know where it's at when I'm actually away from this premise. So in terms of staffing, it's just me, and my partner Daniel plays a really important role keeping the household running when I'm busy at markets. We have until recently had a part-time worker. She's gone off to university, so we're transitioning through our staff at the moment. But we like to have someone to help at markets, someone to help in the shed. It's a big job. I would love good bugs to be synonymous with fermented foods in New Zealand. I want kids to know that actually there's these bugs, we are made up of bacteria. We are just as many bacteria as we are human cells, and that to talk about good bugs kind of gives a balanced idea to health. So I would like kids to talk about these are good bugs, these bad bugs and these good bugs, but good bugs are really important for us to consume them. So I really want us to become a household name. We've been going 3 years now, and I think last year was a really good year for consolidation, and then this year is just a year for growth.